that there we go. I was just going to say Jessica is going to record this, so anyone that is late will get a recording, and we're also going to upload this on YouTube TV. I'm excited to have this presentation today. I know that our Hidden Gems of Aging series is one of the most popular with our members, but my personal favorite series is the Professional Development series, probably because I pick the topics that I'm interested in. So that could be why. But I'm really excited to share today's speaker with you, Lisa Reed. She and I met through SCORE here in Orange County at the Women in Business Breakfast. I know you all have heard me talk about SCORE before. It's one of my favorite resources, and that is an event that I never miss, just like our chapter meeting, our NAIPC Orange County chapter meeting. So I'm happy to share Lisa with you today. So I'll go ahead and get started. Whether you are a speaker or not, there is no doubt that we all, oh, sorry, now I've already screwed up the intro. I'm just getting started. Whether you are a speaker or not, there is no doubt that we all have expertise that can leave an impact in the world once it is shared. As the founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now, Lisa Reed mentors business professionals and entrepreneurs who want to make an impact and ultimately attract their ideal clients through speaking. Lisa has booked and delivered over 500 speaking engagements, and she teaches her clients all of the strategies she uses to get booked, stay booked, and monetize their talks. In today's session, Lisa will be sharing expert strategies you need to know to build your business through speaking. So welcome, Lisa Reed.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Tara. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for everyone being here. And I would love to see your beautiful faces. If you're able to be on video, even if you're like, oh, I didn't wear makeup today, I wasn't expecting to be on Zoom, that's okay. That's okay. I'd love to see your face. And this will help me to really cater. I mean, I have a message that I'm going to share. Absolutely. I'll share my screen, but I want to really make it valuable for everyone here on the call. So quick raise of hands. Who already considers themselves a speaker? Yes. Okay. Adriel, Karen, Carla. Woo woo. Great. Who is maybe like, you just do a finger, like I'm maybe thinking about possibly speaking. Can I see a finger? No, I got a couple fingers. Okay. And Madison and Carolyn, I didn't see any hands. So you're like, would you rather get a root canal or are you, no? Where are you?
I used to belong to Toastmasters. And so I'm trying to get back into speaking.
There you go. All right. So you're not, yeah, there we go. Okay, good. So you're in the right spot, right? And everything that I'm going to share with you, I really want you to just expand what you believe speaking would be and make it your own for your own business and whatever you're trying to create. Because I think I'm not alone in this, right? Now more than ever, we're kind of all speakers at this point, right? We didn't necessarily want to be on video. We didn't want to be on Zoom. And here we are. So it is a completely different ball game now. And the good news is that you can use that opportunity to really get to more people and grow your business. So I'm going to give you some behind the scenes speaker tips, but I do want you to translate that into however it fits for you. Like if you're out networking, maybe you're at the NAIPC event and maybe you have a chance to give like a minute commercial or a 30-second somewhere else. That's also speaking. Okay. So if you're going to do a video or Facebook Live, that's also speaking. There's all different ways. It doesn't have to be you standing in front on a stage with a microphone. It can be all different ways. Okay. We good? Yeah. If you happen to be able to grab a pen and paper, I would recommend getting that because I'm going to be asking you some questions about your own business that you can jot down. And this will help you give ideas of what would you say, like, say you do get a chance to do a 5-minute or a 1 minute or a 20 or 30 or an hour, presentation. What would you talk about? So I'm going to give you some ideas of how to start getting those creative juices flowing. Okay. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat. Tara, I think will let me know if there's anything that I need to address, including like, oh, can you go back to that slide? That's fine. When I share the screen, it's hard for me to see everyone's face or check the chat. So Tara, can you just be my eyes and ears? There you go. And if you it's not going to throw me off if you ask something in the middle of what I'm talking about. Okay. So this is like imagine we were all in person and you were we were in a conference room and we're all around the table and you're like, I would have been able to maybe see your face and go, oh, it looks like you have a question. No problem, right? This is really, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. All right, so let me get to the slide show here. And real quick, can you see? It should say how to grow your business through speaking. Can everyone see that? Cool. Okay, good. All right. And you all know how to put your reactions in the chat. Like if I say something really, really amazing, or even just slightly amazing, you could put a little reaction in your chat. There we go. So we got the hand clap. You know how to do that. There we go. Party. All right. Okay. Or if you have, even more importantly than me saying anything amazing, if you got an aha, like, oh, that okay, I'm going to use that for my business, then I want to see a little hands up or something. Pick your own emoji. All right. So today I'm going to share with you how you could actually get a steady stream of speaking referrals. So you could be starting at ground zero. You could be like, well, I speak a little bit, or you could be speaking a lot. This is going to be helpful for you. In the second tip, I'm going to cover 2 speaking strategies. That's where I want you to have, definitely have that pen and paper, because you'll be inserting your own business situation into the strategies I'm going to share with you. And in the speaker's attraction formula, there's actually 7 steps. I'm going to cover 3 of them today. And in that, we're going to talk about monetization. Like, how would this actually make sense for your business? So I'm going to have you do very simple math here. And so that you can start to see how would this actually make sense for your business. All right. I'm a very keep it real kind of strategic person. Like, I like magic and intention and vision, and I use all that as well. But today we're talking about really feet to the ground. What can you do right now to make a difference? A little bit about me. Yes, I live in Orange County, California. I've been here for 30 years. I moved here when I was 18. You can do the fast math. 50 is approaching. But here I am in Fairbanks, Alaska with my dad. He was my first speaker coach. I grew up with my dad as a hypnotherapist. So I would see him give all these seminars and, rent out the hotel room and sell his tapes at the back of the room. So I guess in a way, it's no surprise that I am here today. But he helped me with my very first speech when I was in 7th grade. I gave a talk to my entire junior high on seatbelt safety. And no one was super excited about that topic, not going to lie. But hopefully you are more excited today about this topic than those 7th graders were about seatbelt safety. But the really cool thing is that when he coached me, it really helped make the presentation a lot better. Little did I know that would be my first speaking coach experience. Many more to come. I went to Cal State Fullerton. Go Titans. If you are, do I have any Titans? Any Titans here? Carolyn, you're in Orange County, right? Yeah? No?
I'm actually an LA transplant.
Oh, okay. So you're in LA, living in Orange County from LA, or where?
I moved down to Orange County 13 years ago from LA.
Okay, cool. I was actually born in LA, and my mom just moved from mom moved from LA about 10 years ago. Very cool. All right, so I went to Cal State Fullerton, got my bachelor's and master's in speech communication, ended up teaching there for a couple of years. I taught human communication, which now my daughter just started at Cal State Fullerton this fall. So it's really cool, full circle. She does not want to be a speaker, but she wants to be a teacher. And I think she's amazing. All right. So I have another, here's my husband way in the background. He likes to just let me sort of be center stage. This is an 80s band that we hired for our wedding. I love rock music. I love concerts. And so I like to have fun. And here's my other daughter. She is not starting college. She's got to stay here back at the office and help me run things. So even in this slide here, you might think, oh, wow, she's talking a lot about herself. There's a teaching moment here, right? You want to let people know a little bit about your credibility, your authority, but also they can get to know you a little bit, right? Just a little bit, so that you're a human, because we're all human. right? And then when we go, oh, I have that in common with someone, or oh, that's kind of interesting, whatever shows your personality, you can use that in your presentation, okay? Now, a little bit more on why did I even start here as a speaker, and why do I train other professionals how to use speaking to grow their business? Well, just like, I don't know if anyone here has ever had that, like, what am I going to be when I grow up? I had that when I was in my late 30s. Can anyone relate to that? Or have you always been doing what you want to do? I know for me, there were a few iterations that had to happen. And I had owned businesses. I was in management, executive leadership, education, entrepreneurialism, all these different things. And it wasn't until I literally was introduced to a personal development company, I became reignited. All of a sudden, it was like a fire went off. Like, this is what I'm here for. And hopefully you're already at that point in your career. You are already at that, like, I have arrived. This is what makes my heart sing. Who in here, put a little heart in your emoji there if you're doing what makes your heart sing right now. Let me see if anyone. Oh, good. Kathy, Adriel, excellent. Tara, Carolyn, cool. There we go. Okay, good. Let's see. Okay, good. If I can't see your name, it's because Madison, there we go. It's like blacked out down at the bottom. Like, I gotta look through really carefully. That's so awesome, because I think doing what makes your heart sing is super important. And as a speaker, it's really important because whatever energy you're bringing and passion you have about your expertise and how you can help people is going to translate, right? It's going to translate to that audience, whether that's a video, a Facebook Live, a live audience, a virtual audience, all of the above, right? So I got hired by this personal development company, and that I had already taken a lot of workshops with. And they said, would you like to speak about mindset and invite people in to take more of our workshops? I said, yes, please. I would love to do that. So I started doing that, and I was surprised to see what happened next. And what happened next is I had started this group called the OC Speakers Network, Orange County, OC. And other speakers started asking me, how did you get so many speaking engagements? And I started my company, Get Speaking Gigs Now. That's my book. And it was because it wasn't people asking me, how do I learn how to speak, or how do I really create my talk? It was more about, how do you get on the stage? And what I've realized that there's a lot of fears that go into that. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of insecurities and uncertainties that aren't really spoken, but I know they're there because I've lived it, right? I'm a speaker. I get it. And that first year I was a speaker with them, I booked 83 speaking engagements. Since then, I averaged 60, this is 8 years now, I average about 60 speaking engagements a year. So if you are thinking, I would really like to be a speaker. Oh, I could really influence a lot of people and really help a lot of people, make an impact in my community, then absolutely speaking is possible. You could have 1, 2, 3, or 4 speaking engagements a month and use that as an avenue to generate clients and leads and things like that. Okay. How do I know? Because I've done it, right? It's like, and when I say 60, it's about, well, for 7 years, I was in my local area. So if you have a location specific business, it's absolutely doable. Now I speak virtually because my business is virtual. So it really depends on your strategy of what kind of business you have. And what I do is I teach people, other entrepreneurs, how to do that. I teach them how do you take your business, your talent, your enthusiasm, your personality, and infuse that into a speaking strategy that really, really makes sense for you. What holes are there? How can we fill them so that you can make a bigger impact? All right, so let me share with you how I got started. When I started as a speaker, I had 0 in my email list. Okay, I had 0 clients, I had 0 speaking gigs. Okay, so what do you do when you're at that level? Well, you get creative, right? You get creative and you see who's around you that might be able to help you out. And this is what I have found to be one of the funnest ways to have a steady stream of speaking referrals. And that's what I call, you find your speaker soulmate. What does that mean? You may not have heard of it because it's a term that I made up, but a speaker soulmate to me is kind of like your speaker best friend. This is a person that you find out there. Maybe they speak a similar frequency as you. Maybe you're just getting started. So maybe they're just getting started, but they have that equal enthusiasm that you do. Or, you know, like, I've been around the block a little bit. I've been a speaker out there. So you find someone who's right, sort of at your same level. And you'll need to talk to them to figure this out, right? You're not a mind reader. I get that. It also needs to be somebody that you know, like, and trust. That might seem obvious, but this is like your inner circle. A lot of times as entrepreneurs and business owners, we get, there's like this myth of quantity, like, oh, I've got to meet so many people and I've got to get so much. And honestly, when you invest in those close relationships, that can pay off way, way more than knowing all these people. So it's kind of like I said, it's like your best friend. Like, you've got lots of friends, you got lots of contacts, but this is like the inner circle people. And it's a deeper dive. So when I shared that I've got, 500-600 speaking engagements, about 20% of those are from one person who has referred me, one, and that's that speaker soulmate I'm talking about. So when you really find that person and develop that relationship and develop a system with them, all of a sudden, all the hard work that you're doing, is more fun because they can roll out that red carpet and refer you. You can roll out the red carpet and refer them. And then all of a sudden, now we're having fun, right? It's not cold calling and cold emailing and wondering if you're going to get rejected and that kind of thing. I have not found a lot of people who really enjoy cold calling. Does anyone here love cold calling? No. I can't see everybody, but probably it's a no, because it sucks, right? It's not fun. I hope I'm allowed to say sucks on this call, but I just did. So now I said it twice. All right. The last thing is you want to find someone who speaks to a similar audience, but isn't your competition. So this is where you could really use your chapter or the whole council membership as like, who in the council might be a good speaker soulmate for me. Maybe their business and who they would speak to is a similar audience as mine, but we're not competing. In fact, we're a like, you got to think like a peanut butter jelly kind of situation. We really complement each other really well. All right. So what I want you to do is jot down on that piece of paper, if you can think of 3 names of people that might be a speaker soulmate for you, jot them down and make a commitment to reach out to them. And you don't know yet if they're going to say yes. You don't know yet if it's going to work, but you want to present the idea. Say, hey, I've got something I want to share with you. I think you're looking at speaking. I'm looking at speaking a little bit more. Maybe we could have a conversation and see how we could help each other. And I tell you, year after year, you're going to look back on this moment. You're like, wow, if I hadn't have invested in that relationship, there's like all these referrals wouldn't have happened, right? And it's really powerful when you start stacking it all up, and it just makes it easier, makes it fun. And you have someone to rely on. You're not by yourself. All right. So who's that speaker soulmate candidate, right? We're dating speaker soulmates right now. And you just make up those appointments, have a conversation, and then check it out. See if it works. It's literally like dating. You got to go try it out first, watch them present, see if they have any videos you could watch, give them content of yours to watch so that you can really, truly refer each other. All right. So did everybody come up with at least 3 names? Put like a little thumbs up in the thing if you came up with 3. Good, Kathy. Yes, Madison, good. Adriel, you working on your 3 names? Okay, she's working on it. Excellent. Tara's got some. Lina, is that I can't think of anybody? You can come off mute.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't think of anybody, Adriel?
Yeah.
All right. That's okay. you can just put this as a homework assignment for later to just maybe put a blank line, like who could that be? And I will tell you that, and that's okay, Lina, 2 is fine. 2 is better than 0. Don't beat yourself up too bad. Now, what I have found, does anyone have like thousands of close personal Facebook friends like me? You know, you might realize that through your, if you go into your whatever social media of choice, go look through that and see who stands out. And it might even be, you could be, you know, at dinner later tonight and all of a sudden someone comes in your mind and you're like, oh, I didn't even think about that person. That could be my person, right? So just let it blossom, let it open up. And I would imagine that person will come to you. All right, so we're going to keep on moving. Speaker strategies to attract your ideal clients. Strategy number 1 is really share how you solve problems. Now you got to think, like, say you're at a networking event or someone says, oh, would you like to speak for a few minutes? One of the best ways that people can refer you or that you can draw clients to you is share problems that you solve. All right, so just jot down really quick 2 to 3 problems that you solve, and you could just bullet point them. You don't need to write a whole novel. You might think of your perfect client or like your latest client who you really enjoyed working with. What problem did they come to you with? And then where are they at now? That's a good way to know how you solve someone's problem. Give you a second to jot those down. And if you already know what that problem is, oh, everyone's still writing. Okay, I'll give you a second. Who wouldn't mind sharing one problem that they solve? And you could just come off mute and share. Is this the shy portion? Of
I have one.
Okay, go for it.
I'm a realtor in the Pittsburgh area, and I'm a senior real estate specialist. And
Okay.
one of the problems I solved is a lot of my seniors want to, downsize or right size, sell their home, and they tell me I don't know where to begin. So when we were shut down with COVID, I went online and learned and started my own organizing business. So now I can help them along when they go to sell their house.
Perfect. So one of the problems that's Carla, right? Carla, you're talking?
Yes.
So one of the problems Carla solves is when someone is a senior and they want to sell their house, or they don't know what options they have. Maybe they're feeling overwhelmed, and she can come in and help them get organized, not just in their home, but also in their decision-making about selling their home and what options they have. Or maybe they don't want to sell their home and what options do they have, right? Okay.
Right.
And then how you can make it even more specific, and this is for everyone here on the call, is think of that one person too, like who's that one client? And you can share that story, like Susie came to me, here's what she was worried about, here's what we decided to do for her, and here's where she is now. Okay, so that's another way you can really tell that personal story. And of course, you can change the name if you need to be confidential. It's not about putting someone's life out on blast, but you can definitely still use that story as long as it's appropriate. All right. Speaking of stories, that is another way that you can start to build your talk, or you can share at a networking event. I don't know how many times I've been to an event where someone's like, hi, I'm an accountant, and if you know anyone who needs accounting services, call me, or whatever, like that kind of boring. But if they said, Joe came to me with a shoebox full of receipts and 3 years behind on his taxes. With my bookkeeping and accounting services, we went through all all the shoe boxes, got him, actually, he ended up with a refund. He didn't even realize that he'd been waiting on this money. And I'm literally just making this story up as I go along. I'm not an accountant. Okay. So that would be more compelling to me of like, oh my gosh, I know someone who hasn't filed their taxes in 3 years. They are so scared. They think they owe money and now they're avoiding it and they're, feeling so much stress. They need to go see this accountant. Okay. So you can get really specific with the story. I'll give you an example. No, I won't. I'll give you an example later. I'm going to tell you a story later, but I want you to write down a couple of stories. These are like maybe it's the favorite client that you worked with or the biggest transformation you saw. And it doesn't necessarily mean it had a happy ending. I get it. We're not just on a personal side. My dad and stepmom own a personal health home care business in Florida. My dad has since passed away, so it's now my stepmom's business, but some of her challenges are her clients are passing away. I mean, that is part of the challenge, but sure, she can help them pass away with dignity, right? Help them pass away while they're in their home with loved ones around, with care and security and people who are honest, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean it's rainbows and unicorns, but the reality is there's people who have problems and what your services can do can really support them. So that's where the stories can be very powerful. We're all going through life. We're all going through life together. So who can think of one story that came to mind that they would share if you were asked to speak somewhere? You don't have to share the whole story. I don't mean. Yeah. Amy, go for it.
So I do end of life planning, and
Okay.
a client of mine called me. Well, actually, we were talking last week, and she shared that speaking of negative stories, she had a neighbor who no one had seen in 4 days, and they didn't know how to get a hold of her. They didn't know if she was out of town. So finally, one of the family members or one of the neighbors reached out to her. They realized they had their phone number for their daughter. And unfortunately, yes, the mom had passed away in the home. What I do is I help people write down their stories or get their information so it's ready to go, so family members know what to do.
Yes. So it's that security. That's beautifully said, Amy. It's that security of like, oh yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. And when have you ever done that before? Never, right? So you need someone to help you. Like, I don't know what questions I'm supposed to ask when, I don't know what I'm supposed to prepare for. So Amy can then help you do that, right? We all have situations where either that's going to happen to us or it's happening to our clients or it's happening to somebody that we know. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. All right, so let's get into the speaker's attraction formula. We're going to switch gears a little bit here. And like I mentioned, there's 7 steps to this. These are 7 steps that I developed over time when those speakers were saying, how do you get on stage? What are you doing all day long? How are you getting these 60 gigs a year? What's going on? You're bribing people? No, I was not bribing anybody. What I was doing though was this. One is I say, you got to get your talk ready to rock. And what I mean by this is a little bit different. When we are using speaking as a way to leverage our marketing, a way to really draw in our ideal clients, it's a little bit of a different type of talk, right? You are then expected to be leading the audience through an experience, giving lots of value, and then also giving them what I call an action invitation at the end. And I know that sounds all pretty basic, like, oh yeah, I kind of know I'm supposed to do that. But when it's your own stuff and your own expertise and you're sitting on decades of expertise, that's really hard to like funnel it down into like 20 minutes or 30 minutes. You're like, oh my gosh, I know so much. I want to tell everyone everything. So there is a science behind that. And that's what I teach in this module. And the good news is you all are going to get access to this formula that I teach. Okay. Here's one of my clients, Lauren Powers. She definitely is not shy, but she had never, when we first met up, she had never really given an official talk. So it's not always about if you're an introvert or extrovert, if you're confident or not. It's really, there's some kind of amazing comfort that happens when you know that someone has validated what you're going to say, you've really planned it out, and you know, you've talked to someone who's an expert. It's like, no, this is how you're going to want to structure this. Make sure you have this invitation at the end. Let's make sure the audience knows where you're going. And she was able to do that in her own style. She's a very over the top. She's my over the top client, and amazing. She drives like a purple Harley Davidson with, she's amazing. So in that first talk, she had actually created an event. There were like 100 people there. This was well before COVID. And she was able to fill her very first coaching program. Now she does 5-day challenges. Now she's she's got her own YouTube channel and show, and gives different talks about faith and fitness all the time. She's a fitness expert. So having that expertise structure behind your belt is really, really powerful. And what you all get access to is my secret formula on how to actually get your talk ready to rock. So it's, and I think Tara will put that in the chat as well. So you get instant access. It's at getspeakinggigsnow.com/replay. So this is a live event that I do a couple times a year. You're getting access to the replay. In this boot camp, you will create your title, your learning points, and your description for your talk. And what that means is that you would have a product on the shelf. So if you say, I'm a speaker, someone's going to say, oh, great. What do you speak on? You need to have an answer. You need to have an answer. Otherwise, you're dead in the water, right? So that's what this does. And this is something, it's, $1,000 value, but I am very passionate about anyone who comes into my orbit. I want you to be able to have a talk just right in your back pocket. You just pull that out and you could use it tomorrow. Okay. That's what I want for everyone that I come in contact with. All right. So we'll put that in it's already in the chat. Look at that. Can someone click on the link and just let me know if that's working? Give me a thumbs up if it's working. Cool. Thank you, Madison. All right, great. Excellent. Okay. So everyone gets, look at that. We're already winning, and we still got a little bit more to go. So how cool is that? All right. So next, key number 2, you need to be able to create your ideal speaking gig pipeline. What this means is, where are you going to go speak? How would you know what a speaking engagement sounds like, looks like, feels like in your realm? Like, how do you know which one is a good, what do I say yes to? What do I say no to? How would I even know where it is in the first place, right? So everyone always wants like the answer to this question. And my answer is, it depends. It depends on your business. It depends on who you serve. It depends on what you like. My coaching style is not to tell you what to do if you don't want to do it, right? Like, the best system is the one that works for you and the one that you're going to do. What brings you joy? What fills your bucket? Some people like to travel. Some people want to do all virtual. Some people want to speak to a huge audience. Some people are better with small audiences. It just depends. There is no right way to do this, but you do need to have some kind of plan. It's kind of like if you just have a little rabbit foot and you're just rubbing it, that's not going to do you any good. You have to actually create some strategy behind it. Then what is super duper cool is that once you create that, here's where I'm going, here's where I want to land, all of a sudden, that's when magic starts to happen and things start to come into play. One of my clients, Leslie, she had that happen. I think this was a few years ago before the pandemic happened, but she started to create her list. Like, this is my bucket list of all the places that I want to go speak. Maybe 2 weeks after that, she got booked for one of those bucket list ones, like her dream place. Okay. Because all of a sudden I wish I could explain it, but there is this magic of like actually putting it out there. Like, this is what I want to have. Now, whether you believe in God or the universe or spirit or manifestation or however you want to call it, there is an energy that we cannot explain, right? That all of a sudden happens when you go, I'm ready to do this. And you got your talk done and you got your list done. You're like, here's where I want to go speak. And all of a sudden it starts to happen. This also happens in my OC Speakers Network. We do something called speaker referral circles. So all of a sudden I teach people, how do you ask for that referral? How do you receive a referral? How do you follow up on that referral, right? And oh my gosh, people leave with speaking referrals. And like, they're like, oh, what was it that easy? Yeah, it's really cool. And she got a 5-figure keynote book too during the pandemic. I will have you say, she texted me. She's like, hey, by the way, this thing really worked out. Now, I don't know if this relates to anybody else, but I feel compelled to share this. I'm checking the time here. Don't worry, we're going to get to the monetization section. Do not worry. I will land this plane on time. So Leslie had experienced a pretty significant tragedy in her life. Her husband passed away really quickly from cancer, and quite unexpectedly. And she used to speak about QuickBooks, and she worked for Intuit, or thinking about accounting and bookkeeping, right? Software. Very different. And then she had this tragedy happen, and then she was compelled to do some writing and research and about grief, and how do we talk about grief? What do you do when someone's had someone pass away? How are you treated as an employee? Does HR have like a thing that they do for people? Like, and the awkwardness that people felt around her as she was, going through this grieving journey. And so her company completely changed, her message completely changed. She was going from software to grief. And that's why she reached out to me, because she said, is it okay for me to talk about grief? Like, I could be crying, people could be crying. Like, this isn't, a happy go lucky type of conversation. And so when we worked together, we were able to really come clean and figure out where she could really authentically share and how to make it appropriate depending on what audience she was in front of. And I will say the answer is yes, it's absolutely okay to talk about grief, as long as the booker, knows that that's what it's about, right? Like, you don't want to surprise anyone, but absolutely, do we need to know? I mean, show of hands, do we need to be educated about grieving? Yeah, right? Of course. We're all going to go through it. We've all been through it. It's happening. We can't, loss is occurring. So once she was able to really land on her messaging and that it was okay and that people needed to hear that, all of a sudden she took off. So a lot of times it's not about, are you a good speaker or not? It's really about organizing all your expertise and giving yourself permission, giving yourself the strategies to really get out there and be heard, be seen, be visible. And sometimes we've just got some secret things going on that keep us hiding. All right, so another thing that can keep us a little locked up is money, right? A lot of times I work with clients who work closely with me. They are very, very giving, very, very generous with their time, with their services, with their energy, and all that is awesome. And then what I also notice, and you don't need to raise your hand if this is you or whatever, but sometimes we have a hard time receiving. Yeah. Sometimes we're like, oh yeah, I forgot to take care of my business. Oh yeah, I forgot to make sure that I was getting something in return, right? That reciprocity and that flow. So one of the things that we'll spend time on is how does speaking monetize for you? What are you comfortable with? Again, not a one size fits all by any means. It's not, because it's going to depend on your individual business, how often you get clients, are they residual? Is it a one-time thing? Like what's your programs? What's your offerings? All those things are unique to you. And then you have your own personality laid on top of that. Like, what are you comfortable asking for? Some people are like, oh, no problem. I, ask for whatever I need. It's not an issue. Other people maybe have never asked for anything from the stage before, or just that's kind of a little gunky, right? So what I want to do here is show you some ways to start seeing how speaking could actually generate a certain amount of money for you. And then all of a sudden our fear starts to go down and our confidence is like, well, hold on a second, that actually might be a really good idea. So let me share with you how you would create your own speaker monetization formula. So number one, you're going to write out and just put a number, make it an easy number because we're going to do some quick math here. Price of your product or service. Like this is like your flagship one, the one that's, I know you probably have lots of different services, but just like the most popular one. And you'll have to massage it a little bit as it sits to your situation. So if it's like a lower price point, but they pay that once a month, maybe put the yearly total, or if it's like a one-time thing, like you're a realtor, like what's your standard commission or something like that. Okay, so I get that this could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. All right, let's see here. Now, the second thing that you're going to do is put the number of speaking engagements you feasibly could have for the year. Maybe it's, and again, we're going to using our imagination, pretend we're kids and we're like, oh, you're going to be an astronaut. No, I'm going to be like, we're going to use our imagination here. It might be once a month, which would be 12, twice a month, 24, 3 times a month, 36. Those are pretty easy numbers. Then I want you to imagine how many clients do you think you would attract at that speaking engagement? Like, let's say you're in front of the right group, you're in front of your ideal audience. How many people do you think would end up purchasing or becoming a client through that speaking engagement? It might mean they become a client right then and there at the speaking engagement, depending on what you're selling, or maybe they become a client down the road. This depends on your level of trust and risk and whatever you're offering. Okay. Okay. Everyone's got their numbers written down? Yes. 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 Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to show you some examples of what this could look like when we plug in different numbers. And I want you to be able to play with this so that you can start to see like, oh, well, maybe if I just change this number here or change that number there, I could make a bigger impact on the business. So example number one, let's just say easy math. I love easy math, that the product or services is about $1,000 and that this individual is speaking twice a month. So 24 times a year average. And that they generate about 2 clients per gig. Okay, so that math means that would be $48,000 in sales. So you can see this is a fairly conservative example. Okay. Example number 2. I'm just changing out 1 or 2 of the components. This is where I want you to start to see how does it fit for you. Let's say the product or service is a $5,000. So it's a little bit higher, but they're not going to speak as much, only once a month. And they think, I'll probably generate 1 client a year or 1 client a gig, which would then total 60,000. Okay. So I just changed the different numbers in the equation. Last example. Let's say it's a $3,000 product or service. Twice a month speaking, so 24 times a year. And they just get that 1 client for that at each of those gigs. Now we're talking $72,000. So if anyone was on the fence about speaking, you're like, and you have a service or product that you think, I think I could probably get 1 or 2 clients and my service or product is in a good range there, it starts to open your eyes a little bit, right? Like, holy smokes, that'd be way more fun than like trying to figure out Facebook ad campaigns or something like that. If you really like teaching. All right. So I'm just checking the time really quick. I'm going to stop the share for a second really quick. Who came up with a good formula that they wouldn't mind sharing? Yeah. And yes. Oh, and Lina has a question. Can I explain a speaking gig? That's a speaking engagement. Like right now, I'm actually speaking to, this would be considered a speaking gig, a speaking engagement. Yeah. Thanks for that question. All right. Who came up with their monetization formula?
I can share mine.
Yeah, let's
Since,
hear it.
As the Aging in Place Council, our national membership is $250 a year, right?
Okay. Yep.
So I plan on doing at least one informational session a month, just generally.
Mhm.
Based on the last two that we've done, we've got 2 new members per session. So that comes out to $6,000 a year
Okay.
just from a
From that.
hour-long info session.
There you go. Great. And so then what we can do, thank you, Tara, for sharing that. And so then knowing what it kind of happens to work out that all of you are somehow connected to Tara's goal, right? So it's like, oh, how could we help her increase that? What could, if she could double that instead of 2 memberships every single time? What if it was 4? Then now she's at 12,000 and she's done the same amount of work. Huh? Like what? That'd be great, right? And think, who do you want in the council with you? Who do you want as that speaker soulmate who's like right there with you? So this is another way where you can really be intentional about who are you around, right? I love that. Very cool. Thank you. All right. Who had another one that they came up with? Or you're like, I don't know, I'm still confused. That's okay too. Still thinking about it. Is anyone still working on their calculations?
Yes, so I have a question because I'm totally confused.
Okay.
My service, I don't have a set number, depends on what the job is. I'm an interior designer. So
Okay.
I don't know what number would I even
Yeah. This
use.
is where, yeah, thank you for asking that, Adriel. And like I said, it sort of depends because, you know, as adults, we want it to just like fit like perfectly in this, like it's got to like match, right? And this is why I said, imagine when we were kids and we were just like, I don't know if you ever played make believe or let's pretend we're, you know, let's pretend we're doctors, let's pretend we're astronauts, whatever. It's almost like that. You kind of just have to loosen up a little bit on like how much that is. So think all your clients are different, all your jobs are different. But if you were to take maybe the highest and the lowest and sort of the middle ones, like what do you average per client? Yeah. So what do you think that number is? 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, 1,000?
More like 20, 25,000 because
Okay, there you go. Great.
I design houses. It's
Well, that's different than, yeah. Okay. So that's
Yeah.
different than like a room or whatever. So
Yeah.
you're designing the home. So honestly, if you were speaking to the right audience, right? Like probably a little bit higher level economically, right?
Mhm.
People who maybe do a lot of philanthropy, right? Okay. People who are in the construction or maybe not, but whoever your power partners are in business, like whatever associations they belong to, these are like really good tips here, Adriel. Then that's where I would be going to speak, because imagine if you just got 1 or 2 or 3 clients from that.
Yeah.
That would be a home run.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I love it. Thank you for putting yourself out there and asking. All right. Does anyone else like need a little bit of support and help? Because I've got like a couple more minutes. I'm here for you. Help me help you. Amy, go for it.
So I'm actually writing an ebook
Ooh, yay.
because what I'm doing, I'm not meeting my clients. But if I can get the DIY piece done, so that would be like, let's say $30 a book, right? Nothing, it's not a large amount.
Mhm.
But the idea is maybe I can use that as a way to get people to show up, or I can give it as a benefit for showing up.
Sure.
Kind of
Showing
like what
up
you
to
have
what?
behind you if you have your book. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So tell me what you do, Amy. What's your specialty?
Oh, I don't mean to be talking again. I do end of life planning.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Okay. So when you say, so end of life planning, so if somebody hires you to do the end of life planning, what is that average price point for you?
200 a month times about 6 months, so $1,200.
Okay. Yeah. So for,
Give or take.
let's do easy math, right? Let's say it's 1,000. Easy math.
Okay.
Okay. I love easy math. Okay.
They got a deal.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, we're not discounting. We're just doing easy math. Okay.
Just
So,
kidding.
say you did one talk a month, right, to those right ideal clients, and you generated one client a month. So then that's the 1,000 times 12 is 12,000. Okay. Now your ebook could be a way to have them go into your email list, right? Or is that what it's like, a lead generator? Is that what you're using it for?
I'm using it actually more as to help them just get the work done.
Okay.
I should be thinking of it more from a marketing standpoint, but I'm just doing it from a people need to do this,
Okay.
period.
Okay.
So how can I get it in their hands, period? And then the other piece to this also, I have this box behind me. They can put the paperwork in the box, so I get some funds there. My real lead generator is helping the adult children get paid by their parents
Okay.
to provide care.
Okay.
In which case I have to meet with them monthly while they do that.
Okay. So there's a variety of things, and this is where sometimes it's worthy of like a deeper conversation, so we can really see like where is the best place to put your time and energy. I know sometimes it's really easy to get distracted by like, oh, well, as an entrepreneur, I don't know if anyone else has this experience where like, oh, now I need videos. Now I need to do Facebook. I need to like, I have to do all these things and it has to be done yesterday. Does anyone else have that experience? I mean, okay, that's me. That's fine. So I know you do. I know you do, because we just get inundated, right? So this is where we can have a little bit of a deeper conversation and see like what really makes sense, and if that support is helpful for you. So actually, let me share with you. Where are we? Here we go. A couple more. I'll give you another resource as well. So just as a reminder, we covered the speaker soulmate system, right? That secret way to get those steady stream of referrals. So start finding your speaker soulmate. We also talked about the strategies to attract your ideal clients. Remember, what problems do you solve, and tell it, if you can, from like an individual person or an individual situation problem. And then what stories can you tell? So they're kind of similar, but I tell them separately because it triggers different memories in your mind. It triggers different ideas that you could share. And I would just start a little catalog, like a little document that has, these are some stories, these are some problems, and then you can pull them out and use them as needed. It's like having your marketing menu available for you. With the speaker's attraction formula, we talked about getting your talk ready to rock. That's, you got to get in there, get that done. I think at this point, we're kind of all speakers. And if you're not using speaking as a way to generate clients, I mean, you're missing a big boat, as we could see. We talked about figuring out, how do you figure out where your ideal speaking gigs are? Like, what are they? What's that strategy? And I gave Adriel a couple of ideas there for her perfect people, possibly, without knowing a lot about you. I have a feeling those would be good for you. And then we talked about that monetization formula, like, how do I figure out how to monetize this and what would work for my situation, right? A couple more, let me just do a quick reminder. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, I want you to just take a moment and imagine, we've got this last quarter of the year. I think we have about 100 days left, maybe 99. What do you want to do with that last quarter of the year? How might you be able to get in front of more people, but not burn yourself out, right? Like, if you're going to go to a networking event, might as well be the speaker, right? If you're going to spend an hour marketing your business, you might as well do it to multiple people in the right audience. So how can you make that a part of your business if that truly is exciting to you? Again, it's really about creating the business that you love and the experience that you love. And what's really great about speaking is that it doesn't just mean the end of this year. It means you could use speaking as long as you wanted to in your career. Doesn't go out of style, hasn't gone out of style yet, right? It's one of the oldest forms of marketing. Even older than newspapers and magazines, right? Speaking is how people used to market their business, and it's still here today. I want you to imagine yourself on that stage. Imagine those perfect clients that you would love to serve coming up to you or signing up for a call with you, whatever that is. You are putting out your energy to those other people who you can best serve. And I think that's like a really fun way to have a business. So here is the link. I saw a couple of people have already registered and gotten the replay access. You also get a guidebook and the template with your replay. So make sure and grab that. Another thing that I offer in the bootcamp, and this, I'll just mention this really quickly, if this is resonating for anyone right now in the moment, is the speaker readiness assessment. You can sign up for a conversation with me at getspeakinggigsnow.com/chat. There are some questions on there that I'll have you answer because I want to have a really fruitful and valuable conversation with you and see if we are a fit. If I can support you, I'd be happy to share how I can do that. If you just need some quick support right then and there, and you're wondering what's stopping you from being visible and being heard, then we can talk about that too. I love exploring people's, what I call speakers kryptonite, like what is going on? What is stopping you from playing that bigger game and getting yourself out there? So that is available for those of you on the call who are like, yep, I was ready yesterday. I need to get this done. If this was a sign, if you were waiting for a sign, this is your sign. Thank you, Tara, for putting that in the chat for me. And I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to turn it back over to our amazing host, Tara Ballman.
Great. Thank you so much, Lisa. That was fantastic. You guys can see why I made Lisa my personal speaking coach now, right? She gave us some great tips there in the hour, and just every conversation I have with her, she always gives me little tidbits. So thank you for joining us today. I hope you'll come back again, maybe next quarter or the quarter after, and share some more tips with us. You know, our mission is about education and collaboration, and I can't think of a better way to do that than through speaking. And so I thought this topic was really perfect for our professional development series. So on that note, I just want to mention a couple things. We have some opportunities for you, perhaps a PowerPoint presentation that's already ready to rock that we put together for Aging in Place Week. So today I'm actually uploading that into MemberClicks. I just put into the chat box. It looks like it didn't do the hyperlink, but to log into MemberClicks, that's where you go to access your member resources. Not only do we have your PowerPoint presentation in there, we also have sample marketing materials. We have stories for you to customize and put in your social media. And I also have a little marketing blurb that I use Lisa's formula for creating the explanation of our talk with the 3 bullet points and the learning points. So you'll already see some of the tips that Lisa's shared with me in the resources I'm sharing with you. So if you are not a member, there's still time to join for our summer membership special. That's $50 off using the summer code. And you'll have instant access to all of our PowerPoint presentations, our social media templates, and all of these great presentations like this. So thank you all for joining us. Our next presentation is next Wednesday on brain health. You can also register at the link on MemberClicks. It is all about activities to keep our brains healthy as we age. And that's put on by a nonprofit who's created curriculum that he's sharing for free to use with your seniors and for caregivers to use as well. So hope to see you there, and thanks for joining us. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, just email me. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.